when you can control ball rotation, you can make that ball do some very funny things. For example, you can make short people jump high, and you can make those tall people bend down low, and you can make those slow people run way out of court, and that is fun. Watch this. Look what happens to this guy. He needs a ladder to get to the doggone ball when you topspin that ball with a high bounce. Look, when you're playing those toads with stiff knees, they hate to bend. So make them bend. Use underspin, the ball will stay low. They may get down okay, but they don't get back up again. Now, the instant you see that your opponent has a slow first step, then slice the ball wide, because that ball will get away from them. They'll have to call a cab to get to that doggone ball. Well, you saw the effects of spin, and if you use it right, you can really control that opponent, and it's a heck of a lot of fun. But people say to me, wait a minute, man, I can't control spin. That's too complicated for me. It isn't. You all can understand spin. It is so doggone simple, but people say, look, I'm not that smart. You are that smart. Watch, I'm going to show you all about it, and I think that I'm going to make it clear. Penny, you hold that. Let me take this ball. Now, watch carefully. Topspin. No big deal. People say, yeah, but Borg, look at all those crazy moves he puts on it. I can't even see what he's doing. You will. To get topspin, you simply have to think about a racket that's going low to high and striking the back side of the ball. That's all there is. So when I go low to high, I strike the back side of the ball, and now all of a sudden the ball is spinning. And if you see this arrow, the arrow is going towards you, which means forward spin. And when you get a ball that's going with forward spin, when that arrow is going this way, the air pockets put pressure up here, and as it's rising, the air pockets hit it and then force it over and down. And as a result, you get a rainbow effect. So Borg gets the ball up over the net and then down. That's really nice. But when you get backspin, that's the reverse, or underspin it's called. When I go low to high to get topspin, I want underspin, I go high to low, just the reverse. And now, instead of the arrow going this way, the arrow goes the opposite direction. It comes back. Now the air pockets are placed on the bottom. And when the air pockets are placed on the bottom, it forces the ball to have a planing effect. It doesn't want to go down. It wants to keep right on going. Well, when the ball keeps on going, now it sails. That's underspin. Now there's a third, side spin. I hit the ball on the side this way. And for instance, on serves or side spin like this, I make the ball rotate on a horizontal. Now, here's what I get with side spin. I get a curve. You know, baseball pitchers, they want to make that batter really sweat it out. So they throw the ball, they make the ball rotate on a horizontal, and the ball goes like this and makes it awfully tough on the batter. Now, on the serve, you can hit a ball up 45-degree angle like this, and you strike the ball, and it makes the ball do this. It makes it go 45-degree angle. And that gets also a curve like the baseball pitcher, but it gets a curve and a little bit of a drop. So it's a semi. It's kind of halfway between the big Borg topspin and the underspin and the side spin. It's this way. All right, so you know about all the spins. There are 4 kinds. Now, Penny, if I can get that racket and ball back. Thank you, Lynn. There are so many myths about spin. Now, with topspin, people say, hey, I can make that ball really jump because it stays so much higher than when I hit with underspin, because underspin hits and skids. Wrong. When you hit a ball that goes like this, and if you could hit a ball that went like this with underspin and a ball that went like this with topspin and flat, the ball that bounces the highest is underspin. That is, if all the trajectories are the same. Topspin actually bounces lower than underspin on the initial bounce coming off the court. But the ball that bounces the lowest of them all is flat, the ball that has little spin. But people say, wait a minute, Braden, don't kid me. I've been in this game a long time. I've seen people underspin and make me bend way down for the shot. But that's because when they hit it, they went high to low. The trajectory was low. In other words, the incoming plane was low. When the ball skids, it's because this incoming plane is low, but it's not because of the spin. Underspin actually has a little higher bounce. Now, players add spin to a ball. That is a myth. what we have actually found that most players actually take spin off the ball. And people say, wrong, I watched Borg put it on. But we found that even with Borg, when the ball bounces, it hits a court, it comes off the court so doggone fast that when you go low to high, it's coming off this way, the court, and when you hit it, it goes back with not as much spin. Most people can never put as much spin on the ball as the court put on it. So usually people put less spin on the ball. They take it off. Now, misconception. People say topspin is so doggone tough, underspin is easy. We have found in calculating the number of variables in determining spin that it takes almost 5 times the number of variables to be controlled to hit underspin than it does topspin. Topspin is a little easier to hit as far as controlling variables, and boy, Borg has certainly proved that. Now here's Bjorn Borg in a match at La Costa against Tommy Gorman. As you can see, it's 2-3 in a tiebreaker. Boy, Gorman could really use this point. Now you see what happens? Gorman gets in. That's a smart play. But the problem is when somebody can hit with topspin and go over the net and short angles, that makes it so tough on the net player. They have to guess. Tommy Gorman has guessed. He guessed wrong. Now, if you use your body properly and use your legs, you'll help get that lift going up, and that'll give you a lot of power. But people say, wait a minute, Vic, I don't want to get down this low because my knees don't bend. But believe me, your knees bend. People say they don't bend, they stop bending. I say, yeah, but I saw you in the restaurant. How did you get in the chair? You know, did you get the waiter to hit you in the back of the legs and then you fell down? When you take a bath at night, do you just fall into the tub? How do you do that? Your knees bend. Use your knees and use your body to give you that big lift. Now, when you're getting ready to hit the ball, forget about low net skimmers. They're just a terribly low percentage shot. Here's what we want you to do. We would like you to hit the ball up over the net 6 feet. If you can get it 6 feet up over the net, over the outstretched hand of that person who's holding the racket, and if you'll run this little test, you'll see your ball will go 78 feet deep when you hit it 38.8 miles per hour. Watch this. You see the person is holding the racket up, and the ball is going over that racket hit and still landing in the court. But you may not believe that until you put it to the test yourself. Now, look at this solid net. We put the camera right at the eye level of a person 6 feet 6 inches tall. And notice that person's eyes see no part of the opponent's playing surface. So that net is really high. Also remember on topspin, if you hit it hard and it's going over and down, it's tough on volleyers because the ball's going over and sinking down very, very quickly. So you don't like to come into the net and bend. Well, that's how you control spin. You're going to be absolutely great. You're going to beat so many people. Now let's go to the service return. Here's Bjorn Borg again. This time he's receiving serve. Tommy Gorman's going to rush in because he's got to get in there as close as he can against Bjorn Borg. But Bjorn Borg can hit with topspin. Now notice, Bjorn Borg hits the ball with topspin and goes over the net quickly and down at the feet of the onrushing server. It makes it almost impossible to return. But this is more of the style that we see here at the tennis college. Take a look at this. We say you want to attack on the service return. But watch what this beautiful woman does. She backs up. You can't back up. You have to go after the ball. Don't let the ball come to you. You go to the ball. I really love this one. Watch. This is one of my favorites. She's great. See, she doesn't move her feet. She doesn't move her body. But she puts her hand up over the mouth and says, I must have made a mistake. Remember, everyone should know the effects of spin. And when you see that person slicing the ball, you know it's going to break to your right or to your left. You've got to really get a fast first step. Otherwise, you're going to be swinging at flies and mosquitoes. Why is it that people don't think much about the service return? Especially, why is it they don't even work on the service return? It is the second ball hit in every point in the history of the sport. And people don't go out and work on the service return at all. It is so doggone important. Now, on the service return, it's true. There's a different service return for beginners and advanced players. Beginners, because the beginning server doesn't hit the ball very hard, they can take a regular forehand and a regular backhand shot. But that's not true in good tennis. That ball is coming 100 and 115, 120, 130 miles an hour. And man, you don't have time to go through all this nice, smooth, beautiful motion. You got to come in with shorter motion, firm grip, all kinds of things, body movement. And so we really want to get in it so you can understand it. But people say, well, maybe it's too complex for me.
It isn't too complex for anybody. The fact is that most people start making excuses about their service return. Honestly, you see people say, boy, I don't know what it is today. Normally I'm terrific, but I'm not hitting the ball at their feet today. Well, Jack Kramer used to tell me, watch carefully, because you're probably not hitting at their feet, their waist, their chest. You're probably not even returning it. No, you got to get the doggone thing back. Now, I watch people all the time, and it's so common. People will serve the ball and double fault. Then their opponent will serve the ball, and they knock the service return into the net. Now, obviously, they lose 6-love, 6-love. They go up to the net and go, you're too tough. How would you know? I mean, you don't know if they're too tough. The fact is, you didn't even give them a chance to lose. So you need a good service return. Now, if an opponent has an unbelievable serve, think about it this way. If that's the only shot they have is a big serve, and you know people like that, then if you have a good service return, you automatically take away their biggest weapon. So you need a good service return. And again, reminding you, it is the second ball hit in every point in the history of the sport. So treat it with the respect that it really deserves. Now, what grip do you use? And the answer is the same as we showed you on the forehand and backhand. A regular Eastern forehand grip and a regular backhand grip. And again, the ball is coming fast, but you have sufficient time to change grips on the volleys, and now you're further back. You're 39 feet back away from the net. You even have more time to change forehand to backhand on the service return. So the regular grips. But one thing we have not discussed in this series, and that is how to get a tight grip. Many people say, well, I just give it a death clutch. But we found that if you'll kind of think about the third and fourth fingers, the ring finger and little finger, squeeze those, and the other two fingers have a tendency to fall into line for you. So you tighten the third and fourth, and it seems to make the grip get tighter. Now, where do you stand? Now, watch carefully, because where you stand on a service return is so important to you. You will stand basically halfway between the range your opponent has on the serve. Well, how do you know what the range is? You have to go out and scout them. Go watch people serve. Now, if their range is only between here and here, stand here. That's all you need to do. The range is halfway between here and the sideline. Stand here. Now, beginning tennis, you have a tendency to stand about halfway between the center line, sideline. But in advanced tennis, you can't stand like this, because in advanced tennis, the pros or the tournament players can hit between the center line and the fence, and you'll have to divide the distance halfway. Now, if there's a left-handed server like McEnroe serving, he can move you all the way to the fence and beyond it. So you may even have to return against him here. But that's not, beginners always stand here, even against beginning servers, because they don't want anything to the backhand. But you remember, you can't say, hey, look, Helen, anything to my backhand is out. You can't do that. Now, keep in mind that running around your backhand, if you're a beginner, it's not a bad trait, by the way, because you can be late on a forehand service return and still hit the ball, because the shoulder house and the hitting arm's on the back. And so many beginners have been told, never run around the backhand. Actually, that's wrong. An interesting tip for you is the best players in the world will run around their backhand. But we're saying to you, don't think you can run around every backhand. You're going to have a good forehand, a good backhand. All right, now, when you are getting in the ready position, understand, we've mentioned this many, many times before, that you may want to get down like this as a reminder that somebody's getting ready to serve. But just as they throw the ball up and get ready to serve, the top players come up, because you can move faster laterally from a higher center of gravity. There's a lot of research to support that. So don't get down too low and don't go through so many crazy movements. Now, what about your wrist? You said tighten the fingers. The wrist has to be firm. Just before you hit, tighten the wrist. Why do you need a firm grip and a firm wrist? Because on the service return, they're hitting the ball very hard, and you're apt to be caught off-center on the racket face. If you're off-center, then you need a firm grip to send it back. All right, let's take a look. I'm getting a ready position, and now I'm thinking, just before they hit, I keep my fingers tightened, and then lock the wrist. All right, you want to keep the racket face on the ball. This is a very big thing on the service return. Most people don't know it, but when we film them on the service return, they always get the racket face off the ball. The elbow comes in, and the racket goes back. Now you've got to time this racket face for a good hit, but it's a very difficult thing to do. You want to keep the racket face out. Well, how do you do that? You put an elbow up. If the elbow's in and the racket goes back, if you could time it, fine. But most people who hit service returns like this are lucky to keep it in the state. You know, they're much less. Because remember, 1 degree is 6 feet of length. But if you raise the elbow, now on the service return, you see how long the racket face is pointed towards the target? So if you mistime the ball, you can hit it here, 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 or here, and still be very good. But But boy, if you come in and lay it back, and I have that particular problem myself, so I have to really work on it, which you'll see. Now on the left side, you'll see that the body can use the elbow too. Make the elbow stay up, and it keeps the racket face on the ball. And we'll show you how to use both of those elbows. But the key is, even while you're thinking about your elbow, remember your body is the #1 energy supplier. So just make the body turn. But most people get caught and go, see, but we don't want you to freeze the body and throw the arm. We want you to freeze the arm and throw the body. And go into it with the body, and it'll give you a lot of power. Now on the service return, you want to hit through the ball, and the stroke will look like this. It's just like a bow, an inverted bow and a bow and arrow. And you hit the ball, you come this way, and try to finish up. Because you don't want to finish down on this shot if you can possibly help it. Because now you got to get ready for the next shot, and then bring your racket up. People say, yes, but there's a backhand chip service return that looks like this. But you'll see that it doesn't quite look that way. There are many people who think that's the way it looks. I want you to watch Bob Lutz on this film. He has one of the best service returns in the whole doggone world. And people tell me how Bob comes straight down on the ball. But watch carefully. See, it looks like he's coming down on the ball. His racket starts high, but do you notice he only has a slight down hit like a bow? And look at the point of impact. His racket isn't tilted under, this famous chip that people talk about. His racket is absolutely straight up and down at impact. That's Bobby Lutz, and if you can hit that way, you're going to be famous too. But finish high. Even though Bob's head drags a little bit because of the impact of the ball, he makes sure the racket gets back up high. All right, the follow-through then is up. And you want that racket head to finish up, so you're now ready for the next play. But you'll see when you're hitting the service return, the tendency is to bring the doggone racket down. But try to keep it up. Remember, the bow is going to be up. Now remember, these two heads are related. This head and this head. So if this head looks up, so does this head look up. So you want to make sure that when you hit, and this is the hardest thing for me, I have to practice it by the hour, is make the hit and then keep this racket head very still coming through. But I have a tendency, because remember, the brain works 200 milliseconds ahead of the shot. You have a tendency, the brain's already made the shot, so you look up to see where you've hit it. But you have not hit it yet. Now, I want people to also learn to take one shot at a time. The problem is you're kind of getting ready for the second serve, but you're really on the first serve. So don't take anything in the back of your mind as being, oh, this is a wasted serve, I only get ready for the second one. Because the first one may go in. So only take it one shot at a time. And if you are getting run out of court, remember this, if somebody's running you wide out of court, don't try to hit a big winner, just get it back, throw it up, keep the ball high, get it back in play, and at least if your opponent's at the net, they're going to have to make a winner. They're going to have to beat you. Tracy Austin does it better than anybody I've seen. When she gets out of court on a service return, she just throws it back, gets it into play, and doesn't try anything fancy. Now, there are two objectives against net rushers if you're going to return serve. You want to try to hit the ball at their feet. So when they're rushing in after the serve, if you can hit the service return at their feet, they get caught in no man's land and trapped. And if you could also make them bend over plus moving sideways, now you've got even a double advantage. So try to hit low and move them wide on the service return if you can. But that does not come before just getting the doggone thing back. I say, don't try to get back 2 out of 3. Try to get back 100 out of 100 before you ever worry about going at their feet or their waist or their chest. Get it back. Give them a chance to lose to you. Now, people say, wait a minute, when we play, no one attacks. We have this agreement. They're not going to come in. If they serve and stay back, now you don't have to hit a ball at their feet. Now you try to keep it deep. Because in tennis, the first person that hits the short ball is in a little bit of trouble. So you keep it deep. And if you get yourself into that position, say they've hit you a soft serve, and then you can hit the doggone ball deep, now you may be able to take the net away from them. All right, now let's take a look at some service returns, and now I'm going to put everything into practice to see if Fat Albert can pull it off. Now, I got to put my elbows up. Now I step in, watch the ball. Did my head stay still? Short swing, elbow up, watch the swing. Not too bad. I may go back on the tour. All right, here we go. All right, now let's take a look on the backhand. But you see, it didn't need much. Now my elbow's going to stay up, and they're going to put me under pressure. But I could feel that lay back on that one. Watch again. Shorten it, Vic. Shorten it. Not bad. Now turn your bod, Vic. I know it bends somewhere. All right? Good. Now see if my head looks up. All right, see, that was my best service return, and my head actually stayed down. But here's typical. Typical look. So don't do that. Keep your head still, elbow up, step forward, and you got it. Now, what happens if you get a nice service return like this? You see your opponent staying back, and you can go forward. All right, he serves the ball to me, and I'm ready to go. I see staying back. I keep it deep. I'm going in. That's called an approach service return. You can actually approach the net on a service return. And I got to tell you, 3 laps around the refrigerator, I need a nap. I am out of shape. Later on in the series, we're going to do a show on conditioning, and I'm going to be the first to listen. All right. When you go to the net, that's called an approach shot. You can go to the net on any opportunity. If your opponent serves a short ball, you go on in. Soft second serves, a little dinkers, hit it and go in. As a matter of fact, if you are playing against somebody who hits that little balloon ball on the second serve, I would attack it all the time. Don't try to slug the second serve, because your racket head will get off and you'll make some errors. Better to just play your approach shot, come on in. Now, you can also rally back and forth, wait for a short ball, and then go in. But any time you're backcourt and you're getting ready to go into the net, you're always waiting. You see the opportunity. It's short. Now you come in, ear to chin to ear. It's the same as the service return. A little ball like this. You're on your way in, and remember, it's always the result of your opponent's weak shot. Now you come to the net. Now when you get here, you're now ready to make a volley. But remember, what you want to do is understand that you're going to get an approach shot because of an opponent's weakness. So if you go the other way with it, if you're the player, understand that you never want to hit a short ball first. In tennis, the first one to hit a short ball is theoretically the loser. So don't hit short balls. Bring your ground strokes up under your chin. Elevate the ball high up over the net. Keep your opponent deep. Now, if you do get the first short ball, you must be ready. People are never ready. They go, oh, it's short. And then they go in. But a good player is always like this. It's going to be short. It's going to be short. Because it's going to be short. Because we know statistically, that's why most people get the name intermediates. Because they hit short balls. All right, so it's going to be short. So bingo, it's short. But never be surprised if it's short. Only be surprised if it's deep. All right, so you see the short ball. You take off. Now you're on your way. But people who hit the approach shot in intermediate tennis, they usually see them with their facial expressions. They usually go, oh, here goes nothing. But you don't want to say, here goes nothing. What you want to say, wow, great opportunity. Now you come in. Because that's the shot that's supposed to earn you the big game or the big set. And remember, the approach shot is the third biggest shot in the game. First is the serve, second is the service return, and third is the approach shot, because that's what you've been waiting for all this time. A short ball. You've got it. You've got the fast step. Now you're coming in. Well, how do your feet work? Well, the racket head have a very precise manner. The racket head stays smooth. It makes a swing as in a bow, like a bow and arrow. All it is this. The elbow stays out, the same as the service return. Face of the racket stays on the ball. But the feet have a different movement. As your body is turning sideways to get ready for the shot, you see the feet don't know where to go. Well, the way you move when you're learning to hit this shot is the back foot always steps in front of the front foot, like this. And as you get better, some of the pros don't move sideways. They'll come in almost facing the net and make this movement. But I'm suggesting that maybe you're not quite ready for Wimbledon yet. But don't let the foot go behind, because here's what happens. People go, and they're in trouble. And it happens a lot. So if you do bring this foot behind, you'll probably have to jump off the ground, which you'll see some pros do, to get time to bring this foot back around the front. But I suggest you come in scissor step it, and it looks like this. And then you've got it. But believe me, the approach shot is so important. I'll almost cry when I see people play the game because they finally get the short ball and can't do anything with it. Now remember, you're going to the net. You should know where you're going. You're going to hit the ball normally into your opponent's backhand corner, because backhands have a tendency to hit higher and longer balls. Now that's not true with some people, but you go scout them, find out which way you're going. But the key is to know which side you're going to hit that ball to before you ever go out to the arena to play. Most people get a short ball, they go, oh, the guy's running left, he's running right, I think I got him. But then it rolls down your thigh. See, you can't do that. What you got to do is know that here's a short ball. When I get it, I'm going into the backhand corner. My target zone is 16 square feet. Actually, a 4x4 zone. That's 16 square feet. So now I come in, I know where it's going, I make my hit, and I also should know precisely where I'm going to run. Where am I going to run to? I will run halfway between this net and this service line, 3 feet to the right of the center. So bingo. That's it. So I should know that. There's no mystery. I don't come up and look around. You know, I know where it is. That's the spot. So I come in. Now, when you land, don't land with glue on your feet, because we see this all the time. People go, oh, finally. I say, well, you don't want that. When you get to the net, you run up to the net, and now you go. Because this is only a bus stop. Now, if they're going to drive the ball, you don't want to volley from here, because you volley at about a 30-degree potential. If you see they're going to drive, get to here. Now you can close off the volley 130-degree angle potential if you're closer to the net. If your opponent's going to lob the ball, then you turn around and go 1, 2, 3. That's all. So you're going to here, and you're going to remember you're going to go 2 more steps forward. If they're going to drive, they're going to lob 3 back. Deadliest shot in all tennis is the overhead smash. And if you hit it properly, it's virtually unreturnable. I love hitting the overhead smash because I can win the point outright. Right away, I can put that thing away if I hit a good one. All right? Pow! Bingo! Pow! Wow! This is fun, baby! You gotta love it. I mean, just imagine. You hit shots like that, you're gonna feel like the best pros in the whole world. But you know what? Sometimes it doesn't always quite work for you. I'm gonna get in there and hit a few more because I'm feeling so good I think that I can do this all day long. I can't quite do it. Hit the net, son of a gun. Give me another one. Out. Now it's starting to get humiliating. But I'm in there. I got it. Son of a gun. You know, it should be fun, and I should be laughing, but I'm mad because I don't like missing overheads, and I know you don't either. It seems to bring up a lot of emotional responses when you don't hit your overhead well. Now, you've seen me make a couple, miss a couple. But let's see what you can do, because maybe you can handle my case pretty good. Penny, I want you to get ready to lead your line up here. You're going to each hit 3 overheads, and you'll be coming right on up to the net to hit that son of a gun. And if you want to put that ball away and put a hole in the fence, that's fine. Let's see what you can do. And I'll coach you as you're hitting. Here we go. Move in a little bit more. All right, Penny is facing the net, but it was a very good grunt. All right. Now you fell down, Penny. Keep your chin up when you hit. And we'll go through all of these details later. Don't worry, just remember what I'm telling you. Oh, there goes the... All right, come on, Tony, get in there. I'm not hearing too many pings. Now, Tony's going to keep the chin up. Good. Try to get your side to the net. Loose arm. Don't hit down on your overhead. Hit up. All right, hit up on the overhead, never hit down. All right, Fred's in. Fred dropped his chin. Don't hit down. Hit up at the ball. Good. Side to the net and turn your body. Very good, Fred. And keep that arm loose. Marie is up. Get in there, Marie. Don't get a fast first step. Don't wait for the ball. Get in, Marie. That's it. That's it. Let it drop too low. Reach up. Keep your chin up and snap your forearm. Marie's forearm is a little stiff. Deidre's in. Give her 2 more, 3 more out there, Ralph. Because she's a player, I can tell that. Look, nice, loose arm. Good looking. She's a tournament player. That's easy to see. Joe is up. I remember you, Joe. You're the big slugger, right? See that? Good, Joe. You hit that ball well. Keep your side to the net. You're a little tight on the arm. Loosen your shoulder. Keep your chin up. Try to hit it early. All right, Marlene, you're letting it drop a little bit too low. Reach up, Marlene. Reach up early. Sooner. Much better. Don't let it come to you. You go to the ball. Margie's up. Watch this, baby. Margie's a little short on the swing. Get your body turned, Margie. Turn your side. And now hit that thing. Let that forearm snap. Sandy's up. Here we go, Sandy. Don't face the net. Good. That's it. Sandy's late on that one. Don't let it come back to you, Sandy. Get it out in front. Late again. And when we come back, Sandy, well, we're going to be talking about the price you pay if you're late. Good looking. I've watched this gentleman hitting overheads. He hasn't missed one since 8 o'clock. All right. See, you get somebody cocky, it's a pretty good psychological trick. All right. Here we go. Watch it. Keep your eye on the ball. Good. Now get up early, early. Don't let it be late. You're going to hit it on the frame. Then you don't hear the ping. I think that... Okay, Marv's in. Good. Keep your chin up. Don't drop your chin. Nice. Ooh, that's nice. Now hit up at it. That's good. Don't hit down. Steve. All right, Steve. Steve's got the stiff arm. Watch, that elbow doesn't bend. He's talented. You can see that. He times it. But the elbow does not bend. So we're going to be checking his elbow out a little bit later. All right, Cindy's up. Cindy, go out and get it. Don't let it come to you. Go get it. That's it. Don't be afraid of it, Cindy. Reach up. Go get it. Go get it. Swing. Cindy, you want to make sure it comes down to you. All right, Steve's up. Come on, Steve. You feel just like me, Steve. I know how you feel, baby. Good. Hi, Kay. Move in there. Kay, another tournament player. Let that one drop too low, Kay. Go up and get it. Go get it, Kay. Don't let it come to you. Here we go. Watch it. Good shot. Got behind you on that one. Get fast first step back. Don't wait for the ball. That one got back to you, too. All right, Billy. Keep your eye glued on the ball. You're facing the net, Billy. Get your side around. Don't show the ball machine your belly button. Hank. All right, Hank. Side of the net. Nice loose arm, Hank. Keep your chin up. That's good. Don't drop your chin. Keep it up. That one, Hank, you looked out a little bit early. You were trying to pick up the trophy, but the ball had not arrived yet. All right, good. Keep your chin up, Lori. I love it, though, when you can laugh before you even hit. That's good. You're for me, Lori. You got the... Oh, look at that. Lori's hardly played the game, and she's already hitting overheads. Watch the ball. Keep your chin up. Hit it early. You're facing it up. Get your side in that a little bit more. Nice. Nice looking. But your elbow's a little tight. Kelly's up. Watch the ball. You're facing that, Kelly, a little bit. Turn your side a little bit, and it'll get you more body. You want body. You're going to see that when we go into all the details. As much body as you can possibly get. All right, let's go. There's another tournament player. Late. That'll get you in trouble if you're late. Let that one get too low. Peak of your reach if you can. Come on in there, Penny. One more time. We'll give you 2 chances. See, because I just love the way you grunt. There you go. You got it, Penny. That's good. If Penny would have let that thing get any lower, I think she was going to have to string up her kneecap. All right. We started with Penny and we ended with Penny. I appreciate it. I saw a lot of things that are going to help you. And we're going to get into the basics of the overhead smash right now. We're going to give you 30 or 40 points that are going to send you on your way to Wimbledon. So be ready to pack up right after you hear some of these points. Let's start with the definition of the overhead smash. The definition of the overhead, as I see it, is any ball you hit up in the air once you've served. That's up over your head like this, because the serve is not necessarily considered an overhead smash, but it is in a way. But when you're up in the middle of the court and some opponent throws up a lob, and now you get your chance to end a point, to make the big kill, that's usually considered the overhead smash. Now, it can be deadly if you have a power supply. That is, if you have a power supply that's working. Now, where do you get the power supply? And this is something some of you don't know, because I watch you come up and hit your overhead like this. Now, the problem with that is your power supply is your body. It's not the arm. It's the body that makes the arm snap. So when you come up, you got to be loose. So come up and give it a little of this. But don't come up and give it this. All right, so you're going to be nice and loose. Now, you're going to have to turn the body, because if you coil your body, then you have something to uncoil. Well, that means you can't be out there facing your opponent all the time. Turn your body. Now, we have a little item here called the kinetic chain. If you've seen some of our previous shows, you know about the kinetic chain. But we have to review it, because it's exactly the same as the serve. And so you want to know where these similarities are. Start with, remember the power supply and the number of segments are 4 on the ground strokes and backhand, and 5 on the serve. It starts this way. From the foot up to the knee is segment 1. From the knee to the hip is segment 2. From the hip to the head is 3. And the forearm is 4, and the wrist is 5. So there are 5 segments on this overhead smash and 5 segments on a serve. So it's very similar. All right, now watch how these segments work for power. Remember, it's just as though you are snapping a whip. When you snap a whip and go, choom, and stop the hand, the whip goes through the air very fast. But if you make the whip do this, you can't get any power. So when you turn these segments, think about the whip. Stop with the knee, and that will make the next segment go through like a whip. Zoom. And if this stops, this next one goes like the whip. Zoom. And if this one stops, this next one goes like a whip. Well, let's take a look at how that applies to the overhead smash. I go 1, 2, 3, and if I stop this one, the forearm is segment 4. That's got to snap, and then the wrist. So it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, 5 segments on the kinetic chain on the overhead smash, just like the serve. Now, the grip on the overhead smash is exactly the same grip as you use for the serve. It is the continental grip. So take a look at this. Remember, on the regular Eastern forehand, you had a palm on the backside. On the continental grip, the palm is not on the backside, and it's not on the top. It's halfway between. It's on ridge number 2. 1, 2, 3. Put the palm on ridge number 2, and you now have the continental grip. And that's the same grip you will use for serving. When you start your swing on the overhead smash, and I saw some of you come up and going, well, you don't have to do any of that. You can go very, very slowly on the overhead smash because the speed of the backswing has nothing to do with the power supply. Let me have a ball just for a second, and I will show you that on the overhead smash, I can go back 2 miles an hour. Ah! See, so you can really deck that thing. But when you start going, well, there's no relationship. Slow up on the backswing. Now, not the backswing for preparation, but from this point on, you don't have to go fast. Just prepare early, but don't try to get your power supply in some kind of a jerky backward motion. Just simply turn the body. Don't worry about taking the racket back. I kept saying, relax, relax. We want you all to relax out there. But it's hard to relax. That doggone ball's in the air, and you're going, here it comes. Well, you can't relax. It's very hard. But if you will just exhale and think about your breathing sometime, especially if that ball's high in there, go, okay, relax. But most people go, and then hit. If you inhale, you tighten. If you exhale, you relax. Make sure that when you swing, you are nice and easy. Make sure that the racket face is down on your backswing, because when the racket face is down, now when you turn, the arm will look like this, and the forearm pronation or the forearm turning will smack that overhead. It's the shoulder turn that makes this all-important snap. Now let me show you. We will do it exactly the same as we did it on the serve, so you people at home, you can practice in the living room if you want to, but don't bill me for the lamps. Watch this. The racket is parallel to the ground. Now I start my kinetic chain. 1, 2, 3, and it's this shoulder turn that makes the snap. Now watch, I hold the racket 2 fingers, loose, go spaghetti. Now watch as I start to make my turn right here. I start the turn. 1, 2, 3, I'm spaghetti, and zoom. It's the shoulder turn that makes the loop. And that's all the power that's going to come into fruition as a result of that kinetic chain. But if you come up and face the net, and then the arm is stiff, you don't get power from your body or power from the forearm. On the overhead smash, you don't want to use bicep power, because if you come in like this, and I saw some of you going, I'm going to kill this thing, man. But if you tighten this bicep, it pulls the arm in. The secret to a good serve is to throw the arm out. So it's loose, spaghetti. Now we want you to keep your chin up when you hit the overhead smash. It's hard, but if you think about keeping the chin up, then when you hit the overhead smash, your racket will go through on a very smooth pattern. But what happens with most people, the brain actually works ahead of the shot. Remember, the brain works 200 milliseconds, or about 1/5 of a second, ahead of the shot. So in your mind, you've already made the overhead. You look up, and you say, here it goes, nice shot. And then you hit it. And then you walk up to the net to get the ball, you see. So don't drop the chin. And so many of you, I kept saying to you while you're hitting your overheads, chin up, chin up. Now you'll know why, because your brain works ahead of the shot. And if you don't keep your chin up, you'll think you've already made the shot, and you'll drop the ball into the net. Now, there are some real exceptions from the serve to the overhead smash. And to start with, the reason we want you to keep that chin up too is that Dr. Patrick Keating has discovered that on an overhead smash, it's a little different from the serve from this standpoint. On the serve, you call the shots. The ball is just sitting right where you want it. But on the overhead smash, your opponent has lobbed the ball. It is dropping, and it's dropping rapidly, and now it's hard to judge that thing, but you will have to swing up at an 8-degree plane. In other words, here's where you're going to hit the ball. If you swing up 8 degrees, you won't even hit a long overhead. Most people say, if I hit at 8 degrees, I'll knock the ball over the fence. Wrong. Let me show you this. If I'm hitting my overhead smash right from this line, if I hit up 8 degrees from horizontal, the ball's on this level, if I hit up 8, the ball only goes about 43 feet long from here just past the service line on the other side. And that is not a big, deep overhead smash. That's actually short and fairly risky. So at least 8 degrees up. But I watch some of your facial expressions, and I know that some of you who are short as me, you're up there thinking about you're going to hit it down on the kill. You cannot hit it down. Don't hit your overheads down unless you're almost all the way into the net. If you're standing on top of the net, fine. But I tell all my students, anywhere back in the service box or at the middle of the court, only swing up, never swing down. Now, as I said, judging the ball is another exception because the ball is dropping. It's very difficult. The ball is dropping out of the sky. And when the shot is going to be coming from the sky, it's hard for depth perception to measure when to swing. You remember when I was saying to you, sooner. So you all want to make sure, you see, I know what he says, but I want to make sure I get a hit. Right? That's the problem. You're afraid you're going to go up there and swing early. I suggest to all of you that you be too early. Laura, you did it so well. You missed the shot completely, you got a little worried, then the next one you got your racket on the ball, and then all of a sudden, you just said, I'm going to go out and hit that dumb thing. I don't care about this coach. And you kept your chin up and you hit it very, very nicely. But you've got to go for it. This shot, you must go for it. Don't sit back and not go for it. Because when the ball's dropping on the overhead smash, now if you choke and get nervous and you're standing here, now you hit a little baby shot, what do you think they're going to do to you? You've hit a short ball to them, they're running in and they're going like this and you're caught. I mean, you're going to go, nice shot. That's your problem. You've got to hit that overhead. It's an all or nothing shot. So go for it. Now, your feet have a big responsibility on the serve. When your feet are in contact with the ground, on the serve, it allows this kinetic chain to take place. But on the overhead smash, sometimes you get caught having to jump because the ball's over your head. If you jump, your feet are not in contact with the ground. And if your feet are not in contact with the ground, the kinetic chain cannot unwind. So you see an interesting little thing called a scissor step from better overhead hitters. Here's how the scissor step works. You'll see the player come up, and their feet go this way, and then you'll see these legs kick. They'll go. Now, why is this left leg shooting back? Because if I can generate a force going that way, it will help the other leg go in the opposite direction. And that's why the scissor kick is made, because you don't have those stabilizers, so you need some help to help bring the right shoulder through. Remember, for every action, there's an opposite and equal reaction. So I get one reaction going this way, that helps me get a reaction going in the opposite direction. So that's why the scissor kick. By the way, you see it with the top volleyball players, too. They jump up to smash, and you'll see the scissor kick take place on a lot of them. Now, the last point, which is a big point. We watch people all the time, and sometimes, by the way, we're criticized for this, but we see people all over the world pointing their finger at the dropping lob. And I understand, it gives you some cue, some reference point, and I'm not saying to anybody that you can't do it. What I'm saying is, look at the problems this generates. You point your finger. Now, how do you get your body around for the kinetic chain? See, and so people go like this, but if you watch carefully with the pros, you don't see them point the finger first. And people say, you're wrong. I've watched pros play for years. I see the finger pointing at the ball. But what you'll see when you hit with slow motion film is this. The body turns and the elbow points first. And they go elbow to finger. Now the elbow points, it helps turn the body and the kinetic chain is taking place. So elbow to finger. And now you get all 5 points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But what most people do is they point the finger and they go. And there's no body. So if you can try pointing the elbow first. Now again, the chin is going to stay up. You're going to turn your side. Now what makes this forearm snap so much? Well, you'll see that with most of the top players, an interesting thing. When they go up to hit, the chin is up, but an interesting phenomenon which very few people pick up. Just as they go to hit, this front shoulder stops. Now, I'm going to turn into you. Now, watch this carefully. You'll see this go back, and then you'll see this shoulder stop, and they go, and then the left arm comes down. Because when this shoulder stops, it makes the forearm snap. Now, one other little exception. You can take your pick, but we see this happening every once in a while. On serves, most people start here and they go down, but on overhead smashes, you don't need to go down. And on serves, you don't need to go down. You can go around at about waist level. But I would suggest, because sometimes you're trapped on the overhead smash, is that, and you're going to need to react quickly, I would suggest that you simply make a turn like this and keep the racket at eye level. Now, if you keep it at eye level, now you're going to be ready to make the hit. And I'm going to have Ralph throw me a couple lobs here, and watch, when I come back at eye level here, you'll see the body turn, and it's a short swing. All right? Now, watch my left shoulder. All right? Okay, you see, I can make this turn like this, get my power supply, point the elbow first, and then the finger. But so often when you see the finger pointed, it's the end of this roll. So don't get this look. And remember, part of our problem on the serve was people are trying to imitate the trophy. Oh. All right. Remember that you need a fast first step to get in position for the overhead. I kept saying, hurry, when you're running in to hit the ball. Hurry, you got to get up there. But some of you didn't seem to hurry. Say, why, man? It's nice out here. So, but in an overhead smash, it's dropping so fast, you need every bit of help you can get. So when you're playing the net, if you're playing here, for example, what you're looking for is a very fast first step. Well, how do you get it? Because if you will watch for visual cues, in other words, if that opponent is over there going like this, they're not going to lob. So now you want to get in closer to the net. But if you see your opponent going like this, they ain't going to drive, right? So when they're like this, you turn and go back. Now, if you say, I don't know how to go back, it's always baffled me. Well, you can turn and go 1, 2, 3, or you can just go 1, 2, 3. I prefer, and take your best shots at me, I prefer that my students turn and run back 1, 2, 3, because statistics will show you and research will show you that you can take 2 steps running forward for every 1 you can go backwards. If you couldn't do that, a lot of sprinters would be running backwards on the 100-yard dash. All right? So, but yeah, we see very good players in pro tennis. One player, one of the partners will turn and run, and the other partner will just simply backpedal. So you see both. Take your pick, but practice both. But I've seen a lot of intermediates not practice, and they go like this and fall. You've seen a lot of people fall backpedaling for the overhead smash. So those are the basics on the overhead smash. Now I'm going to hit 3. All those points I've just given you, you see whether or not I put them into effect on my overhead smash. All right, 3 shots. Get your feet moving, Vic. You're too slow. Not too bad. Keep your chin up, Vic. That's better. Ooh, you went up for the ball. I could feel it. You know, I kind of felt good on these overheads because I was moving my feet. And moving your feet, I think, really helps out a lot. Now, my chin is up, and my body's going out there all right. But look at that foot. I'm late. I should have been way out in front of that ball. It's been a story of my life, late. I got the ball in all right, but I'm not going to always be that lucky. Number 2, I'm saying, look, you give me enough overheads, I think I can do it. All right, body's turning, chin is up. I'm following the ball pretty well. Shoulders rolling, elbow, forearm snapping. Good. I'm further out in front. Left toe on the ground. Good. Notice, by the way, that that wrist was snapping after the hit. A lot of forearm. You got to relax that forearm. All right, here we go. Final one. Come on, make that third one a good one, baby. Feet moving. I'm tracking the ball pretty good, at least. My big problem is I didn't used to look up at the ball enough. I dropped my chin too early, but now I'm keeping it up, it looks like. Good deal. You got to feel pretty good about that. It's true. It is a fun shot to hit. All right, Penny, you and Steve come on in. Because, Penny, I'm going to have you hit 2 overheads now, and I get to watch you. Steve, you're going to go right in after Penny hits 2. You hit 2. And then we'll do the same thing. We're going to watch you on slow motion replay. All right, Penny, move on in there. Crack those 2 overheads. Come on, baby. Watch that ball. Still letting it fall a little low, huh? Well, you're the smartest person who just blew 2 overheads. Not too bad. Let's go over and watch it on slow motion replay. All right, Penny, what I'm looking for now, I remember the last time you didn't go up after the ball. You let it come down to you. Now watch, it looks like you're going to go up, but you don't. You wait for the ball to come down. And there's where you're in trouble. You got to go up to meet the ball. Remember, go up to greet the ball. Say hello on your way up, but don't let the ball come down to you. And you get in trouble again. Watch your second one. Everything looks perfect. You look like you're going to just pound that thing. Look, turn your body a little bit more. You're facing the net, but not bad. Nice elbow bend. You're watching the ball, and then all of a sudden you say, I can't go. I got to let the ball come to me. And you're in trouble again. All right. But you'll get it. You just have to get out there and practice it. But let's take a look at Steve now. Let's see whether Steve goes up to meet the ball. And I want you, Penny, to watch, because Steve's problem is very different. And Steve, you take a good look at this, because you're going to see that that elbow does not bend, even though you think it bends. Watch carefully. Good eye contact. Turns his body pretty well. Misjudged it a little. He's late, but now look at that arm. Straight as an arrow. It's the old soccer ball play. Pretty coordinated too, Steve. I think that you bend that elbow and snap that forearm as part of that kinetic chain, and you're going to hit a terrific overhead smash. Your feet move pretty well for you. But actually, you time it late almost intentionally in order to allow this bolo whip shot. Watch. Straight arm. So you got to go spaghetti, Steve. You know, in the game of tennis, mistakes outnumber great shots 10 to 1 in pro tennis. That's up through the semifinals. But in intermediate tennis, mistakes outnumber great shots 30 to 1. That's why intermediates can remember their great shots, because there weren't any. Now, lobbers are people who hit the ball high in the air, and they are successful in the game of tennis because they play the game very safely. They let the macho person make all the mistakes hitting it hard, and what you usually see is dink, pow, and the lobbers dink, pow, dink.
Oh, come on, play like a man.
You see, that's why the lob deserves so much attention, and that is the subject of today's Tennis for the Future. The lob is any ball you hit high into the air. But also remember, there are 2 types of lobs. One lob is a defensive lob, which you hit high into the air. And the goal here is to keep your opponent from playing the net, or if they're backcourt, to keep them back there. But in any event, a defensive lob is not to win the point outright. It's just to keep that person back. And it looks like this. All right, that's a defensive lob. Now, the offensive lob is the one designed to win the point outright, and that's not as high. And there are some people who use this very well. Bjorn Borg uses it well. He hits it with topspin. Some people hit it with a slight underspin, some flat. But it just goes out of the reach of the person who's playing the net, and it's designed to win the point outright, and it looks like this. That's the offensive lob. Now, there are 7 reasons total of why you want to have a good lob. And we have already seen 2 of them. Now let's go right down the line and keep these in mind, because a lob is like having gold in the bank, believe me. If you are playing someone who's really heavy, let's say they like the low-cal donuts and they're a little bit overweight and they don't like to run, well, you can tire that toad if you can lob well. Push them up to the net and then lob over their head. And you'll see that when that person is running back like that, if they do it about 15 or 20 times a match, believe me, that individual is going to be carried out prone. So you can tire them. Rule number 4, or item number 4, you can buy time with the lob. Look, if I'm in position and somebody runs me out of court, I've got to get some time to get back to this court. Now watch this. You see? in slow motion, you can see what I mean by buying time. Look, I'm way out in that alley, and I've got to get back to the center of that baseline. Well, while my opponent is chasing down that lob, he's way out of court, I can go back there and practically write another book. Look, the ball's now coming back. And the real time it took for that ball right there to hit my hand from the time I hit the ball was 6 seconds. And the fifth reason for learning to lob is that you can break up your opponent's rhythm. Remember when those two men were hitting that ball and the slugger's going pow and the lobber's going dink? Well, that slugger wants to get out there and pow, pow. He loves to slug because he's got a nice rhythm, and he wants you to slug too. But don't play into his hands. If he wants to slug, you go dink, and now you break up the rhythm. And remember that item number 6 is you can test the patience. And remember what happened to that other player who wanted to slug the ball? He's yelling out, "Why don't you stand up and play like a man?" He's all upset. So test the patience with a lob. It's really fun to watch people crack up. Now, you can also use Mother Nature. Mother Nature can really help you, and people don't use nature well on a tennis court. If you're looking into the sun, it's very uncomfortable. Well, when you're trying to hit an overhead smash coming from your opponent's lob, it's not too easy. You're looking up, and you can't see momentarily. Well, if your opponent's in that predicament, why not throw them a nice little lob into the sun? Now, while they're trying to find it, they get the fuzz sandwich. You can serve them up a pretty good lunch that way. Also remember that you can use the wind conditions. If the wind is blowing across the court, lob into the wind, and it'll blow the ball back onto the court and push it going across the court. It's very difficult for your opponent to judge a ball that's coming in from the wind. And also a lob is very difficult to judge because Mother Nature has made us a blue sky. And when you have the blue sky, it's very difficult to judge the rate the ball is falling. And as a result, people have great difficulty in timing an overhead from a good lob. But people say to me, wait a minute, only chickens lob? Who wants to play somebody who goes dink, dink? I want to be out there and be one of those big macho hitters. But that's not really true. I've been around pro tennis for years, and the greatest players I've ever seen in my life have all lobbed. Pancho Gonzalez was a big hitter, big server, lobbed well. Jack Kramer lobbed better than almost anybody I've seen. Bjorn Borg hits that offensive lob so well and wins points outright in major events with it. And I think Chrissy Everett probably has learned, and Tracy Austin, both in the women's play, they can get the ball back into play with the lob as well as anybody I've seen in the history of the game. Let's start with the grip. On the grip, you use the regular forehand grip, regular backhand we've been teaching you throughout the entire series. On the forehand, which is called the Eastern forehand, the palm is the same as the racket face on side number 3. Remember, 1, 2, 3. That's the palm for the Eastern forehand. For the Eastern backhand, the palm goes up on the top. And that's the same backhand grip as you've been using for backhand ground strokes. No difference. So don't treat them like they're very different grips for lobs as for your regular forehand and backhand. Palm on 3, palm on 1. And the thumb on the backhand is up a diagonal like this, on a diagonal. And on the forehand, the index finger is spread like this, and the thumb lies next to the middle finger. Eastern forehand, Eastern backhand. No big problem with the grips. But you're going to have a lob. But first, before I get into all the details on the lob, I would like to see how well you lob. All right, Penny, you and Bill, come on out here for a minute. I'm going to try a little experiment with you. Now, from Ruth Ann, everyone to your left, you 10, would you go down to the other end of the court? You'll get specific direction down there, exactly what you're going to need to do. All right, you head on out to the other end. Austin, could I get you to get the balls off the court just for a minute, and we'll make a little safety rule here. All right, now, Penny and Bill, here's what I'm going to have you do. I'm going to have you hit 10 lobs. And when you lob the ball, you're going to try to hit that white towel down there every time. Now, your classmates are going to be at that other end, and wherever your lob lands, they will immediately get to that spot. Thus, when you finish your 10 shots, we're going to know how accurately you lob. Bill, then I'm going to have you hit 10 after Penny. Then after you hit 10, you're going to go against me. and you're going to put me to the test. Now, there's a great chance for you to embarrass me on my own show. So if you finish and you've got 10 people out there with 20 sets of feet sitting down there like this on top of that towel, I'll know that I'm in deep trouble. All right, let's give it a try. All right, Penny, come on out. And Bill, you just hang there for a second. Come on out. All right, Penny, you're going to be right about in the middle of the court here. All right, let's go with the ball machine. 10 shots for Penny, and her classmates will mark it. Here we go. Oh, it looks good. Your yelling looks super. All right. It's a good grunt, too, Penny. That's good. You're a fine lover.
No.
That is a winner.
You don't go so high.
Beautiful. Very nice.
I like this. That's a son of mine.
Sure. Okay, not bad. Come on over, right where it lands.
Oh, no.
Okay. Is that 10? That's 9? That's 10. Is that 10? That's 10. Okay. Take a good look at that, Penny. That's where your shots have all landed.
I like the girl in the orange.
That's right. You like Ruth Ann. All right, Bill, your turn. Let's go. You people go back to the back. We'll start it over again. Bill, let me get this ball out of the court right here. Safety first. All right. 10 shots, Bill. You know what to do. Just lay them on that towel, baby. All right, let's go with Bill. Excellent. Excellent. Boy, what a beginning. Oh, that Bill is ready. Bill is going to put the coach on the spot.
Oh, very nice. Yeah.
Excellent, Bill. Fine lobber. You didn't like that one, huh?
No.
Look, are you kidding? I'm feeling better already. Nice shot. That's excellent. Right in there. I think you got about 2 to go. 1 more to go. All right. 1 more. Here you go. Watch this one, Bill. Oh, super. Super. All right. I think maybe I even gave you 11, Bill, but we'll see. They're all placed there. All right, now it's my turn. Now, see if I can get them bunched a little bit more tightly than you. Now, if I've done my homework and I've worked on my lob, I should be putting them in a little bit smaller group than you, but maybe they're going to all have to be going out the gate to find my shot. All right, here we go. 10 shots for Fat Albert. All right, watch that lob. Little short. All right. That one got a little deep. Okay, that's 10. Take a look at that. Was it close? All right, come on over. All right, so now the question is, if I was a little bit more accurate, what was I doing that was different from what you were doing? And that's what we're going to try to pull together. So come on in. We're going to be covering all of the points on the lob now. We'll go through the stroke, A to Z, and we'll see how I could have even improved. If I'd have watched it carefully, I could have done a much better job, I think. And there are 3 points if I would have followed. And this is my clue to you, Penny, and to Bill. When you're hitting the ball, I notice that you look out away from your shot. Remember, you're only playing a ball, so keep your head still. Follow the ball into your strings. Now, I would like everyone who's learning to lob to imagine a box that's out in front of them like this. And there's a vertical that goes up 90 degrees, one horizontal. Now, if you want to learn how to lob, just imagine the box and decide how you're going to cut up through that box. And if you can draw that little picture for yourself, every time you go to lob, then just imagine the box, decide how you're going to go up through the box, and that's it. It doesn't matter what they're doing out there, believe me. You have the ball, they can do nothing. So just imagine the box and go up through it. Now you have to decide on how steep you're going to swing, and at what angle will the racket be beveled, and how much speed you will apply to that racket on the way up. Those are the 3 points that you'll need to remember. The angle at which you swing, the angle that you face the racket, and the speed at which you swing the racket. All right, now you need to disguise your shot. Now, by that we mean, when you're getting ready to lob, you don't want your opponent. If your opponent's standing at the net, you don't want them to know that you're going to lob. Why? Because if you go into that ball like you're going to drive the ball, what are they going to do? They're going to go, I'm getting on top of that net and kill that toad. But you see, if you look like you're going to drive and they come in, they're ready to set up a tent. Now you fake them and throw that lob. And when you throw that lob, they're going to go nuts, you know. They're going to have to run back, and you're going to shock them. You're going to keep them ill at ease all the time if you disguise. So look like you're going right into that ball when you're going to hit it, just like a forehand. Now, what's the difference between singles and doubles? When you are lobbing, there's basically no difference. The rules are the same. You're trying these 6 points. You're going to try to keep your opponent away from the net, 7 points. You're going to try to get them to lose their patience. You're going to try to get them to break the rhythm. You're going to try to keep them away from the net. You're going to try to play nature's rules. All those 7 points that I've given you before are exactly the same points in doubles. If 2 players are at the net and you can keep those 2 players back at the back fence, you get the same results as you get in singles. They can't hurt you. But in doubles, a good lob is even more important in some ways, and I'll tell you why. When 2 players are at the net, their chances of winning the point increase tremendously. Almost 95 out of 100 chance of winning the point if both players are at the net, unless you have a good lob in doubles. So you don't want to deny yourself a good lob, but you're going to have to go out and pay your dues and practice one. Remember what I said about your head staying still? Also, make sure that you don't look at your opponent. There's an interesting point when you're playing this game, and that is if you look at your opponent, you have a tendency to aim the racket right towards them. So you know where they are. If they're out there, you just keep your eye on the ball and make the shot you want to make. But don't look up when you're hitting your lob. And I noticed, Penny, you and Bill both, you were so eager to see where you hit the ball, but you hadn't hit it yet. Right. Make sure you hit it, and then look. All right? Now, people say, wait a minute, if the lob is such a big shot, then how in the heck do I deal with it? What do I do? If they're hitting good lobs to me, what do I do? My opinion is that for most good lobbers, you're going to end up having to be able to have a good lob back, because you have nothing you can do. They're pushing you back so far and they're making you play up high. It's very difficult. You're getting frustrated because you like to hit with your butt going into the shot down here. Now they're making you hit up here and you're getting angry and things like that. So it's a little bit tough. Now, if you are prepared, if they bounce the ball, you could hit an overhead smash from the baseline. But people say, wait a minute, you know, hit an overhead from this far back. Sure, you can hit an overhead from this far back. Think about it. The serve is an overhead smash. And the serve, you only get 60 feet in which to hit the ball, from the baseline to the service line. That's 60 feet. But when you're hitting an overhead smash, you get the full length of the court. That's 78 feet. So why not learn to hit an overhead smash from here? Now, if you don't have any of those things, then you're going to end up having some problems, because you're going to have to get that guy in the bar, you know, because you can't play with your lob. Now, Jack Kramer told me an interesting thing. It was fascinating. People say, wait a minute, I'm dealing with this lob. That's fine if I'm back court, but what if I were at the net, they lobbed over my head, and now I'm running back? They managed to get it over my head. Well, what Jack taught me stayed with me for 20 years, and he said the same thing for himself. The coach who taught him this: when the ball does get over your head and you're running backwards, you think you've made a calculation, so you hit it just so hard because your body weight's going that way, but you're trying to hit your lob that way. So when you hit that ball that way, try intentionally to hit it 3 feet past that line. And if you try to hit it 3 feet intentionally over the baseline, it'll usually land 3 feet inside the line, because you don't seem to make very good calculations on your lob, especially when you're returning a lob on the run going in the wrong direction. All right? So let's go through now. When you are warming up, you want to take care of the lob. So many people start a match, and when they start the match, they never think about practicing lobs. And so they walk out into the court, they try forehands, backhands, serves, some volleys, and then all of a sudden somebody says, ready, play. And now they're at the net, and you go, uh-oh, forgot something. And you throw the little balloon ball up, and they give you the big shot on the overhead kill, and you're dead, and you start saying, why didn't I work on the lob? Now, what usually happens in the warm-up, you don't hit the shot, so when you get in the match, you hit the first one maybe too short. Now you overcompensate, the next one goes too long. So you usually will lose 2 points in a row on the lob because you have not practiced it properly. Now, the fact is, when you're playing this game, we have given you every reason, 7 to be exact, of why you want to have a good lob and to keep that person back, and all the reasons we gave you. But there are some times you will be playing people, you don't want them back. You want them up. Well, what kind of a person is that? It's the person who's 100 pounds overweight. It's the person who can't take 3 laps around the refrigerator without taking a nap. You know, it's the person you want to tire out. It's the person who's very secure backcourt, but they're afraid to volley. Well, if you're going to do that sort of thing, you're going to get that individual up to the net. You have to have a different shot because the lob won't do it. Now you're going to learn the drop shot, and that's coming up right now. A drop shot, how to bring your opponent up to the net. You know, wouldn't it be nice if you could just take that one person that you have in the back of your mind, you'd like to beat their brains out, and then run them up to the net, and then back court, and then run them back up to the net. You'd love it. And then back court. And then up to the net, and then back court. I'm telling you, you all have somebody like that in the back of your mind, that is for certain. Up, ooh, and then they run completely out of gas. That would be so doggone much fun. It was really beautiful, wasn't it? Mary would hit the little short ball and then drive Brooke back with that beautiful lob and then bring her up short again. Now I bet you know what a drop shot is. It's that little short ball. You just barely drop it over the net. And that was a perfect example of a great combination between a good lob and a good drop shot. And if you use it well, you could tire those people out so much you drive them crazy. But let's get to the basics, because you got to know how to hit it. The grip, same as your regular ground strokes. The palm is on the backside, the same as the racket face, and on the backhand, the palm is up on the top. Same old thing we've been doing through the whole series. The flight pattern is a little different. The flight pattern looks like a bow, as in a bow and arrow, like this. But remember, you don't have to complete the second half of the bow if you don't want to, because the ball only sits on the strings 4 milliseconds. It hits, it's gone. So when you hit it and you feel it hit, then don't worry anymore about it. You can actually stop there if you like it. But you do have to keep the racket face on the ball, because if the racket face is like this, and you're late, it's going up, and if you're early, it's going down. Well, how do you keep the racket face on the ball? You just raise the elbow. And when you raise the elbow, the face stays on the ball much, much longer. Just make the little bow, and when you feel it. Now remember, this head and this head are related. Try to have them both do the same thing, and that is perfectly still and smooth as they're moving forward. But when this head looks up, this head looks up. And when this head looks down, this head looks down. So try to keep them very, very still. Try to keep your side to the net when you hit, because if your side's to the net, the racket can stay out there a little bit longer. Try to disguise your shot. Make it look like you're going to hit a forehand, and just as you're ready to hit, go ding, and drop it over the net. I'm telling you, they'd be so angry at you, you're going to kill them. Be ready to move forward, though, because if you hit a little short ball just over the net, they're running in like this. So if they're running in like this, they may not be able to hit a deep shot back to you. So when they lift it up like that, if you're already moving forward, you can come in and give them the early lunch. You see, so you want to come in and deck them. Now remember, on court surfaces, this drop shot is very important to know that on fast surfaces, it's not very effective, because when the court is fast, the ball hits and skids back. But on rougher surfaces like clay or cement that has a rough edge, the ball would just hit and die. And that's why you put a little backspin on it, because it hits and just dies. Now I'm going to demo the drop shot. And then I'm going to have you, Gretchen, start the line and come right on in and just move right on out like this. Everybody will try one drop shot just to get the feel of it. Here we go. Watch this. 3 shots for me. Now, soften the fingers, because our research shows that it's not a firm grip, it's a little soft grip, little softening of the fingers. All right, Gretch, I got 2 out of 3. Oh, you little devil, you're catching on. Good, CC almost hit the towel. All right, you're a little bit more towards the drive on that one. That's it. Oh, you're going to kill that opponent. You hit it off the frame, they'll never know it, darling. They'll never know it. Not bad. I think you people are all ringers. Nice. That's the right idea. See, experiment like this. Good. Just a little bit more of that uplift route than you had it. Swing's a little bit long, darlings. Try to shorten your swing a little bit. Not too bad, Bill. I heard you grunt on that thing. Ooh, power play. Remember, you don't need too much power. Some of you were short, some of you are a little bit too long, some of you straight across, but make the little bow like this. Now, that little bow is also used up at the net, if you can believe it. You don't always have to hit a drop shot from here, inside the baseline. Sometimes you can hit a drop shot while you're at the net. When your opponent's way back, it would be really nice if you could just go doink, and that's coming up. Next, let's move up to the net for the drop volley. The reason we are up at the net is because that's where you hit the drop volley. Now remember, some people call it the stop volley. So if you hear the term stop volley, don't be confused. It's exactly the same. You call it drop volley or stop volley because the ball simply just drops over the net or stops when it hits. And it's exactly the same stroke that you hit from back there. So you don't need to pick up a lot of new tips on the drop volley. Remember, a volley is any ball you hit in the air before it touches the ground. But take a look, as in a bow and arrow, looks like this. And you can make the whole swing, but if you want to, you could just make half. Because when you make half, the ball should have hit the strings. The ball's on the strings only 4 milliseconds. It is gone. So you don't need the rest of it. But keep this racket head up. Keep this head up. Follow the ball coming right into your strings. And just as you start to feel the ball coming in close to the strings, soften the fingers. Loosen your fingers. Keep the racket head up. Until that point, the ball will drive the racket head down. But don't you drive it down, because the slightest down hit will pull this ball into the net, and it's going to kill you being that close to victory, and then you dump it into that net. So keep the racket head up. I'm going to demo, and then you're going to follow me right into this thing. Let's try it out, Ralph. See if I can keep this head up. Soften the fingers. Huh? Okay, Gretch, come on, baby. You can do it. We all know that exercise is important, and we all know that it's important to exercise before you go out to play tennis. But are these the right exercises? And should they be done this vigorously? Conditioning. That's the subject of today's Tennis for the Future. We are really lucky because dropping by the tennis college today, world experts on exercise chucking down a coker. Now, I want to get to it right away. Were those exercises you saw, were they proper exercises?
Vic, they were fine, but they were done too vigorously, and you could injure yourself doing that. And one exercise I saw in that group that I object to is the side straddle hop, which is done like this. We've been doing this since elementary school, but this impairs your coordination, is not really a good exercise. You should do a vertical jumping jack this way, which enhances your exercise as a warm-up.
I'm already in trouble, buddy, because I thought this was terrific. That's why I got this great bot. All right, so let's go through some exercises. What would you suggest for the tennis player who's getting ready for the big match?
First of all, you need to warm up the back of the leg and the low back. So we just do a gentle bend forward, and everybody try this. Let yourself hang down, your arms hang down, and let gravity pull you down and just kind of...
Wait a minute. Gravity is not pulling me down.
You may need an assist. All right, just let it hang down and keep stretching.
Yeah, I can feel it now.
Pull.
I used to be 6'3" and thin, and this was easy in those days.
Well, you're still not overweight. You're just too short. All right, everybody, come on up. right, now to stretch the same area, we do a crossover and keep your heel up. Don't put the foot down flat that's crossed over. Keep your heel up to keep your hips level. Then go down very slowly and stretch the back of the leg, and then come all the way up to a vertical position, hands overhead.
Wait a minute,
and
wait a
then go
minute.
back down again.
Hips level.
Yeah, see, if I put my foot flat, Vic, like this, one hip is lower than the other.
Ah, gotcha.
Now when I bend forward, I'm putting the stress on my
Okay.
back rather than in the middle of the leg.
All right, so I should feel that. When I do this drill, I put my foot over, the heel is up,
Right,
and
now
when
you
I
should feel
bend
it in
over,
the back of the
I
leg.
should feel it in the back of the leg. But if I did it flat down, I'd feel the back.
Right.
Okay, now if I wanted to do the back, could I put it flat down for the back?
No, you really don't want to do that.
Is it dangerous?
It's just too much of a twist on the back.
Okay, all right, coach. Pass on that because we want you ready for Wimbledon. Now, heel up.
Heel up,
All right.
hands up. All right, now stretch down. Back up.
Wait a minute. Jack, you're going too fast. When Fat Albert gets this far, it takes a big wind to get me back up. Here you
All
go.
right, all the way back up. All right, stretch down.
I tell you, I can feel myself getting just a little bit looser already.
Good. All right, one more time. And then back up. Once more. All right, back up. Now cross over and change your feet. Normally you would do this 8 to 10 times on either side. We're going to make it abbreviated for this point just to get you through all the exercises. All right, back down, up, and down, and up, and down. Oh, you're smart this morning. Knuckles on the ground. And up, and down, and up. All right, that basically just warms up the back of the leg. And next area that we're going to be concerned about is the quadricep.
Yeah, this quadriceps right here, baby.
On this area, you grab your foot and pull your leg back and stretch the front of your thigh right in here. You should feel a tightness and a pull as you do this one. So pull it back, keep pulling.
This class has got class because we're hanging onto the net.
Right on. All right, and down.
There.
All right, now the other leg. The idea is to try to pull your knee as far back as you can as you stretch. Stretch, stretch,
And
stretch,
slowly, huh?
And slowly. When you're doing this on your own, you can hang on to the side of the fence so that you don't lose your balance. But then you'll really stretch these quadriceps in this area.
Quadriceps. Why do I need quadriceps?
This is the one that you push off with every time that you take a stride in your running.
Well, what about if I'm hitting forehands and backhands and I'm doing this? That's what I'm using?
That's what you're using.
Okay, so
You're
quadriceps
bending
for
your
lifting
knees.
that ball up over the net.
They're
Okay,
lifting your body up and
Good.
down and lifting the ball up and all the rest of the
okay.
things.
All right,
They're the
coach.
Most important part of your body.
I'm getting into this.
All right, the next exercise we're going to do now that you've stretched those two important areas, or three important areas, is we're going to bend forward at right angles, hold your head stationary, bend your arms at right angles, and now you flex your stomach muscles and you pull your elbow back as far as possible, working against that muscle tension of the abdominals. So you exhale as you pull your arms back and it sounds like this. And pull. Now,
Wait a
normally
minute. I got the I couldn't get the part down here with my head still. My head kept moving. How do I keep that head still?
Well, usually look up a little bit and focus your eyes on something stationary, and then don't let your head twist.
Okay, let me try this again. Okay, I'm looking out this way. My head
Okay.
stays up. Now, like this. All right? And I suck my stomach in
Right.
hard as I can.
Hard as you can.
Hold it a minute. It takes 3. Okay. Why do you do the
As you exhale, you force the oxygen out of the lower part of your lungs, and it helps you tighten the muscles tighter.
Okay. All right.
Now, the next exercise we do is called a cradle, only we're going to do it standing instead of lying down. You put your hands behind your head, and then you pull your left knee up to your right elbow in this fashion, and then the other way.
Wait a minute. I can't even cross my legs sitting in a chair, man. And you want me to come up?
Right. Come on, Vic, get it up. There you go. That's pretty good. Okay, let's everybody try it.
Okay.
Left knee up to the right elbow. And the other one.
Oh,
And the other side.
oh, I got you, Coach. Wait a minute.
Get him
Wait a
up.
minute.
Get him up.
I can't rub my belly and do. Wait a minute. The other leg. There you go.
Now you got it. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And ho. Not bad.
That's nothing. I rolled on that one.
The next one that we're going to do is to stretch the Achilles tendon in the back of the ankle that goes all the way up into the back of the knee, and this is an area that a lot of people come out cold and injure themselves and make too many fast starts and so forth.
Is this the one, Chuck, where the players, when we have injuries on the court sometimes, they'll say, I heard it pop.
Absolutely.
And then we knock them, they get knocked right out of the box. And if you get an Achilles tendon injury, how long are you out of the ball game for?
Anywhere from 8 months to a year.
Really? So this is worth it then, huh?
This is worth the time and the effort to do this simple little stretch.
There you go.
So
I'm
you can
just
see
happy
it
to
from
get
the
a tan.
side.
There you go. There you go.
Put your feet flat on the floor and don't let your heels come up. Place your hands just above your knees and then try to push your knee as far forward of your toe as you can. Now bounce a little bit as you stretch down there. Stretch, 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 and you should feel it pull in the back. This is also an excellent exercise for skiers. And this is one that you can do many times during the day when that area feels at all tight to you. Okay, good.
Chuck, can you play any sport after doing this sort of thing? Is it just for tennis?
No, this is applicable to any sport. Vic, I can go out now and play basketball or I can play football or whatever. Basically, I need to stretch very gently. Most athletic teams leave half their energy in the end zone warming up before a football game, for example. Doing the side straddle hops and doing a lot of exercises that affect the body's strength by doing this. And they don't realize that they do a very precision-like drill and everybody's adrenaline's up high and they're really excited. But as a result of that, they left an awful lot of energy down there that they could have used. Right, absolutely.
I'm with you. Okay, what I want to know is, from Donna especially, Donna, I want to know if I do all these things, because you look limber to me. I watched you put your hands down there, and I've never had my hands down there unless I've fallen. Now, what I want to know is, how flexible can I get, because I've got these tree stump legs, and I'm not kidding you. I cannot sit in a chair and cross my legs, and I'm very envious. I see people do that, but for me, I can't get my legs over the other leg. I can hold it like this when I'm in the chair, but then I let go, it snaps out. But how limber am I going to get?
You're probably pretty lucky, though, Vic. By crossing your knees, you can shut off the circulation to the lower extremity and end up with a blood vessel problem.
Oh, Donna, show me. Go ahead.
Be able to do this, Vic.
Oh, that's scary. That is really scary. I don't think I'm quite ready yet. I probably can do it with this leg, but not with this one. Here we go. I'm going to go as high as I can. I swear to you, this is as high as I can go. And it's embarrassing. All right.
Not
No,
bad.
it's hurting me right here.
You're almost up parallel.
Okay. All right. But this other leg's the winner. I'm pretty loose, really. All right, here you go. Get it set mentally. Okay.
Very good, Vic.
Boy, that hurt.
working on it.
That really hurt. Do you think I'm going to eventually be able to get up?
You're going to be able to get up there.
Oh, I don't believe that. Well, anyway, now we're getting ready for a big match. And these people have a long, long way to go yet, Chuck, because we've only gotten them into the stretching and flexibility exercises. But we got a lot more to go. We have Dr. Gideon Ariel coming up next. And Chuck, Donna, thanks for being with us. It's really super. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Vic.
Right on. If I can look like you, man, I'm going to be really happy. Thanks. Well, you've heard me mention many times on this series the name Dr. Gideon Ariel, and this is the man. Gideon Ariel is a biomechanist, exercise physiologist, computer scientist, and by the way, he was a super athlete too. He was a discus thrower for the Israeli Olympic team, so he knows where he's coming from when it goes to sports. Gideon now, fortunately for us, is an American citizen and president of the Koto Research Center, Coto de Caza, California, and I've got a couple of questions about your interesting field. Gideon, before we reach the tennis class that's waiting for us at the Research Center, I need to know, buddy, would you define for me the term biomechanics?
Well, it is as the word stands for. Bio means life, and mechanics mean the engineering systems that actually analyzing forces, velocities, and accelerations. So the same way as engineer analyze a bridge or analyze a road, we analyze human being. That's the word biomechanics.
You know, Gideon, we spend so much, doggone much time talking about conditioning, but really, what is conditioning?
Vic, conditioning is a very complex entity because you're talking about many human factors, such as moving your arms throughout the range of movement, which means flexibility. How strong you can move it, how can you interact with the environment with more force, so you need strength. How long you can do it, which means endurance. And how all these factors working together to achieve maximum performance.
But Gideon, does everybody have to be concerned about conditioning?
Vic, there are two reasons. One reason is that you want to play the game better, and another reason is that you don't want to get hurt. For both of these reasons, you have to be conditioned. And when we talk about conditioning, we talk about general conditioning and specific conditioning, and that's where the law of specificity comes.
Wait a minute. Law of specificity, what's that?
Well, Vic, the physiologists know this phenomenon that the body adapts to a very, very specific situation. For example, let's take Mark Spitz, put him on the 26-mile marathon. He probably won't finish the marathon. And take Bill Roger and put him in a 1,500 meter in the swimming pool. He will feel and pay the price the next morning. Now, and take them both, if they never played tennis before, and put them on the tennis court. And you'll see the next morning, they'll say, Vic, gee, what happened to my shoulder? What happened to my leg? The same leg that could run the marathon or could swim the swimming pool 1,500 meters. That's the law of specificity.
So, Gideon, you need endurance, you need flexibility, and you need strength when you're trying to get into shape. But do you have some specific examples how you guys help the athlete perform better?
Vic, why don't we walk to the computer lab and I'll show you how we analyze the world record holder in the discus, Olympic champion Mac Wilkins in the discus throw.
Okay.
This is actually Mac Wilkins, the great discus thrower, on the screen. And you see him in his throwing. This motion was reduced from a film analysis. We had to trace frame by frame hundreds and hundreds of images on a computer screen. And this computer graphic give us the three-dimensional output of this particular throw. When we analyzed Mac Wilkins, we found out even he, before he broke the world record, was not very efficient. Just before the throw, before the release, and in this position, which is very critical, his knee, as you see, is bent. Well, utilization of this computer graphic allow us to make his knee straight. So on the computer screen, we can change his technique and find out if he would throw better. In fact, we found out he could throw about 15 feet farther.
Gideon, why? Why do you want his knee to be straight?
You see, because in any athletic activities, you have to transfer forces from the legs to the arm. And if the leg is not stabilized, if the leg is actually used as a shock absorber, you are going to lose some energy. However, after we straighten his knees, and I'll show you exactly where it happened, just here, we found out we can add about 15 feet to his throw. And in fact, later on, when we made him throw like that, it was much more efficient and he broke the world record.
That's unbelievable. So it's great for Mac Wilkins, but I also happen to know that it's great for tennis players, too, using that leg in the same manner, because you have the great Eli Nastase backhand on your computer, and can you show us that one?
Yes, Vic. We have Eli Nastase, and we're finding out whether it's a tennis or whether it's a discus. The principles are the same. Vic, here is Eli Nastase appearing on the screen. And what we find out that he is a very talented athlete. In fact, he's doing exactly what we wanted Mac Wilkins doing. His knees is very stabilized, and just before impact with the ball, if you look on this knee, you're finding out that he's straightening and also stabilize it in a very optimal way so he can transmit all the energy right into the ball. If we want to look on it in a higher speed, it would be very easy to show it how he stabilized his knee.
You know, for years, Gideon, people have been told, stay down with the ball, stay down with the ball. And yet, we've been telling you throughout the series, our viewers, to make sure they lift, stabilize that front leg, and it'll actually transmit energy into that racket, make it go through the ball faster. Well, Gideon, I'm just amazed all the time how many forces impinge upon the tennis player. They're running, stopping, starting, and smashing the ball. Is there any way we can measure all those forces that take place on a tennis player's body?
With our aerospace technology, there is a way. Why don't we go to the force platform? Vic, this white square is the force platform. Why don't you execute a backswing right against this plate?
All right, so all I got to do to hit the backhand is land with my front foot on that plate.
That's right, and we'll measure all the forces that transmitted right to your body.
All right, Coach, let's give it a try.
Okay, now let's go to the computer room and find out what are the forces that transmitted to your body. Vic, here are the forces that you produce executing the backhand. The bottom curve is the vertical force, that's the force down. And the middle curve is the horizontal force, this is the force forward and backward. And the top curve is the lateral force, sideways. Let's see how much you weigh, Vic, and in this case...
Wait a minute, how much I weigh?
Oh, yes, and I tell you how much you weigh exactly with this kind of instrumentation. Your weight, Vic, is 196.8 pounds.
Scary.
However, what is more scary is that you produce a force when you hit this plate of 485 pounds. This force went right into your body. The horizontal force was 168 pounds. No wonder when you produce a force which is more than twice your body weight, you're going to have sometimes troubles if you're not ready for these kind of forces.
So if I'm going to keep from having trouble with my ankles and my knees, obviously I'm going to need some muscle to hold those babies upright.
That's why resistive training is so important for sports, and particularly in tennis. Why don't we go to the computerized exercise equipment and I'll show you how they prepare the muscles for this particular game.
Okay. Thanks for waiting, class. I can't wait to see this, baby. It's the most futuristic machine I've ever seen. Gideon, what is it? What's it doing to Mike?
This is the first computerized exercise equipment where it's monitor automatically what Mike is doing. It's putting into the memory, comparing to the standard, to his previous analysis, and assigning automatically the proper amount of resistance. So he completed 10 repetitions. If we now want to diagnose his lift, and you see he starts with 211, he's getting fatigued. If we'll move the bar a little bit, he will put his force curve on it. And here it shows that at certain angles, Mike is very strong, and other angles, a little bit weaker. There's no other machine can do that.
So on this machine, he's working on the chest and the arm extension, trying to build up that strength. Why does he need the strength?
Well, the reason you need strength is that if we assume that with no strength at all, you cannot move, and with little strength, you can move a little bit, that means with a lot of strength, you can move a lot.
Okay, so for the forehand, he's going to use chest and backhand, extending the arm. So all of these things are going to help ground strokes. So you need a strong chest. Play tennis, you need strong arms. And now he can see, when he was pushing that up, did that give him a little incentive to, when he pushed up, he could see on the screen what he's pushing? So the next time he's going to try to go harder?
That's the uniqueness about this machine, because you have immediate feedback. You see how much you're doing. Sometimes you cannot do too much about it because you're getting fatigued, but the machine always adjusts to your own ability. So even if you end up doing only 10 pounds compared to 200, you still can move the bar.
All right, so now he's got a strong set of shoulders, he's got strong chest, but what about his legs?
Well, that's why we have also a leg machine. This is the leg machine. It provides resistance to the knee extensor and the knee flexors. She's walking the quadriceps up and the flexors down. Now, Penny, stay down, don't move yet. And if we're watching now, all her 10 repetitions, we find out that she was 135 pounds, 135 pounds, then she went all the way in the end to 118 pounds. This is the average force for the extensors. For the flexors, she never went over 100 pounds. which means that her extensors are much stronger than her flexors. They are in balance.
But Gideon, what's the optimum? How high should she try to get on this and gradually work herself up to that?
As a general statement, she should be able to walk with the extensors and the flexors about 1.5 times her body weight.
All right, so if she gets good legs, Mike's got the chest and arms, so now they can run like crazy, they can hit the forehand, but now they got to get up overhead and smack the overhead and so on. They need strong arms, forearms, and so on. How do you do that?
This is the arm machine. You exercise your arm flexors, which are the biceps, and you exercise your arm extensors, which are the triceps. Every repetition will be shown here on this particular exercise. And you see that it's not very easy exercise, but the machine adjusts right to the person to do the exercise the proper way.
Well, Gideon, I mean, as I've always heard, more women have more lower body strength, but not as much upper body strength. Do they have to go 1.5 times body weight on this machine?
No.
That's 28, 30 pounds.
No, in fact, that's very good, appropriate number of poundage. And usually women are a little bit weaker in the upper body, but they are very strong with the legs. So I would say if you reach half as much as your body weight, you are in a top shape.
All right, so now we know. And Lynn, stop before I can't stand to see the perspiration coming down that you're going to have great arms, great overhead. So now we know that you need strong legs because of all that poundage you're hitting with that cement. Also, we know you need strong arms for the overhead. The chest gives you forehand and backhand and volley and all that sort of thing. But Gideon, the thing that's of great interest to me is that people don't have all of these great machines. So can I get into the home lab? You check me out, and if there's something not working right here. This is what I give to all my students who don't have all these fancy machines. Can I give it a try?
Sure.
All right, what do you say, Coach? I'm going to show you first. Thank you, Lynn. All right, now watch this. I'm going to see how I ask my students, how do you get some strength in their arms? So now I tell them, cut off a broom handle, put a hole in there, and then take something that weighs a pound or two, put it at the bottom, and then stand erect, and then just wind that cord up, but do it very slowly. Now, if I can feel some pressure in my shoulders and forearms and the extensors and the flexors, aren't they getting a little bit of a workout? Okay, so they're getting it. Now I'm going like this, and again, get it all the way up to the top, but as slowly as you can possibly go. Don't try to do it rapidly. It's how slowly you can do it. The same advice you're giving on flexibility exercises. Then when you get it to the top, turn it around, because that going down slowly will get either the flexors or extensors, whatever you weren't getting in the first place, and take that one down very, very slowly. Now, do it as many times as you want, but don't overdo anything. The idea is to go slowly. I tell everyone, if you have any kind of an injury, make sure you check out with your physician first, because nobody should take a chance on getting hurt. All right, on the backhand side, most people start developing some bad elbows, so you need to develop those extensors. And one way you can do it is just practice swinging the backhand. Most people don't even get practice in. Once you start doing this and you start building up the muscle, put the racket cover on it. Now you get a little bit more resistance, and you're slowly building it up. And this may take weeks for you to do, or even months. But once you get that strength, then put a ball inside the racket cover and keep going this way with one ball. And then as you get stronger and stronger and stronger, put 2 balls, 3 balls, 4 balls. When you can get 6 balls in that racket cover and go like this, believe me, you go like this, you knock people right out of the county. So you'll really be strong. And again, tennis elbow affects so doggone many people. Now, people say, well, I don't want all those little weights. I want a lot of weight, man. I want to get into this thing. Well, here's your bod. That's what's got all the weight. So use your own body. Look, get down on the floor and start putting pressure on your arms and your legs and things with your own body. And this way and this way. You can do push-ups. Go down and up. So much time. You get forearms, you get your shoulders. If you want to, you can even get fingers like this. You're going to be in good shape. Now, if you can stand it, do 10, 11, 12 of these push-ups, but get up there as high as you can possibly go. I think I'm passing out.